Hey everybody, Blugoblin here on my main channel for my next Midtown Comics Stash. Once again, thanks to TheMtVernonKid, my bro, and to Midtown Comics, of course, for the books. Let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to start off with ARCHIE Comics. We're going to start off with Sonic the Hedgehog, number 251. This is the conclusion of the Worlds Collide storyline. It all ends here. Part 12 of 12. All I can say is this was awesome. This was awesome. This was some of the best action out of the whole series. Wow, this was just wow. To see both Sonic and Mega Man use the Chaos Emeralds to go super powered and everything, it was just awesome. Super Sonic and Super Mega Man. Of course, they can't call him Superman. But yeah, just really good stuff. Some really high energy, just highly volatile, action-packed moments. Just really good stuff. My only nitpick about this conclusion is that it ends on a cliffhanger. It's like, you want to know what happened? You know, minor spoiler here. Sonic and Mega Man are trying to stop the Genesis waves from taking over, and it's like, it basically ends with, you want to know what happens? Stay tuned to the next stories. There's no actual final plot point, solid conclusion to the story. And I think that kind of hurts it a little bit. But for the most part, this was fun. This was great. Loved this. And after reading this, I honestly say I wouldn't mind them doing something like this again. This was so well done. So much fun. I loved it. Despite the weak ending to the story, it was still well worth the reading. I loved it. Moving on to Black Mask, we got the Liberator, number 2. Real heroes don't wear capes, they wear ski masks. Now, this is another one of those comic book series that doesn't rely on characters. It doesn't rely on actual superheroes. We're basically back in the real world. You know, because what this basically is a story about animal rights activists, and people who value animals' lives. And it's such a refreshing this was such a refreshing read. It was solid. I don't think I would consider this fun considering the subject matter, but for what it was, I did enjoy it. This was good. We get to, the main focus is on these people who are animal rights activists. They're trying to save all these animals from being tortured and everything, but we also go deeper and deeper into what motivated them, especially the female, especially this girl right here. I forgot her name. But we got to see in this story, in this issue, what it was that motivated her into helping these animals. And it was pretty damn disturbing. But this was solid. Can't really complain. This was a solid read, and I really enjoyed it. It's nice to see a comic book series take place actually in the real world, where you don't have to rely on cheeseball superheroes. I mean, this was good stuff. Alright, moving on to DC Comics with The Movement, number 4, a shot of Gail Simone goodness. Right there. Yeah, Mouse, the one-man plague. Gail, I bow to you. I love you. You're a great writer. You're probably my favorite writer, period. Now, this particular issue doesn't focus just on Mouse. I mean, we basically get a small backstory on pretty much every character in the team. Now, you would think when a comic book comes to a part where they have to give backstories to each member of the team, you'd think that would slow the pacing of the storytelling down. And actually, in my opinion, it doesn't. It doesn't slow the pacing of the story down, because some of the backstory telling actually helps progress the story further along. It's very rare, in my eyes. It's very rare that we see something like this, and it was very nicely done. Now, my one complaint about The Movement is that I'm not 100% sold on the interior art. No disrespect, but there are parts of the interior art I just don't like. But, like I said, what really sells this book is the writing. I mean, it's Gail Simone. What more can any comic book geek ask for? Gail Simone just continues to nail it over and over and over again. And I just love this series. I'm falling in love with this series. I'm loving these characters. I really can't honestly complain. This was so well done, so solid. Do yourselves a favor. It's not too late. We're only on issue 4. If you can, get on board with this series. I promise you, you will enjoy it. Alright, moving on to Dark Horse, we got Akaneiro number 3. Part 3 of 3, The Path of Cloak and Wolf. This 3-part miniseries was a perfect example of a series that you didn't have to get too emotionally invested in. This is a perfect example of a story that was simply nothing more, nothing less than a fun, enjoyable, simple read. Good stuff here. I love the conclusion of the story and how this young lady finds out more about her inner mystical powers and how she further develops as a demon hunter. It was nicely done. There was a couple of swerves and twists involving a demon who was also worshipped as a god at one point in his life. And the twists and the swerves worked in here. There was a really big climactic fight with a really big bad demon in here. It was so well done. I loved it. The pacing was fine. The artwork was okay for the most part. But overall, a solid, fun read. I loved it. Moving on to Dynamite Comics, we got The Black Bat, number 4. This is probably one of the most gruesome issues of the series so far. We get more in the backstory of the character of the Black Bat, and this really helps us new readers who don't really know much about this character. This really helped us here. We also got to see why he's blinded and what happened to his eyes, and yeah. As far as the present day storytelling in this particular issue, things ain't looking so smooth for the Black Bat. I mean, he's buckled up into a corner and he's just going up shit creek with bare hands. I mean, it just isn't looking good. And he gets some really unexpected help from an unexpected source in here. And that's how the book ends, on the cliffhanger. And I will not spoil that. This was good. This was solid. Very heavy on the drama as well. This was very, very well done. Props to everybody who worked on this particular series. Especially this issue. Solid, solid goodness. Moving on, we're going on to Lady Rawhide, number 1. This was a series I personally, reluctantly and slowly asked Chris to hook me up with because it was advertised so much when I was reading The Spider. I was like, you know what the hell, I want to give it a look. So I talked to him about it and he sent it to me. This was good. I mean, this was good. Was it perfect? No. This takes place in way back in the past, back in Mexico during the times of Zorro. There are winks and nods to Zorro, but they never mention his name, which I thought was pretty fun. But this character here, Lady Rawhide, is actually the wife of a man who was once accused of being Zorro, and we get more into her character later on in the book, her backstory. But what she basically is a female Mexican Robin Hood, basically. You know, rob from the rich and give to the poor. However, the poor people that she's helping are noticing that when they find themselves connected to her from the law, they end up getting in trouble, more and more trouble for it, and they decide that they try their best. Now, I think they're politely telling her that it might not be worth it, but this issue here ends on a very, very big uh-oh style of cliffhanger, and it was very nicely done. I honestly can say I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. Moving on, we're going to The Owl, number 2. Oh, wow. What a good series. We're diving more into the new Owl Girl, and just checking my time here. Wow. We're diving more into the new Owl Girl in here and finding out her true connection to the original Owl Girl, and I'm not going to ruin that. But in here, it's just so remarkably well done. The Owl tells this new Owl Girl about his stories and what's going on with him, and we find out that this new Owl Girl is actually willing to cross lines that he believes most heroes shouldn't cross, and we learn more about how she makes her living. And it kind of disturbs the Owl, and it is a little bit disturbing, but for the story to progress forward, I think it makes a little bit of sense. This was good, very solid stuff, and I love that Alex Ross cover. This was solid work. Moving on to Valiant, we got Quantum and Woody #2. All I'm going to say about this is that it was just as hilarious as issue 1 was. I love how it's marketed, the world's worst superhero team, and we get to see how awkward these two characters are with each other. I mean, this was purely a laugh from beginning to end. That's all I'm going to say. But one thing I will ask, when's the GOAT coming in? This was good stuff. Funny, funny shit. Alright, we're moving along to Scott Snyder's The Wake, #3 of 10. This is a weird series, but in here we're starting to dive more into the plot of what makes this creature that they captured tick. Now, all I'll say is we get to learn more about the creature, we get to learn more about what it does and how vicious it can be. This was a good series. This was a good issue. Excuse me. This is the best issue so far, and I'll just leave it at that. This is weird stuff, and the cliffhanger. Whoa. If you're reading this series, get a look at the last page and just try not to go, holy shit. I dare you. I dare you not to go, holy shit. We're going to end this with Grim Fairy Tales Oz, #1. This is from ZENASCOPE Comics. Giggity. Giggity. This was nice. I didn't know I was going to be getting this, but this was nice. You know, call me crazy. I always thought of the Grim Fairy Tales series as making these fairy tales look more gruesome and more appealing as eye candy and everything, but I read this and this was actually pretty good. I actually liked this. I love this cover. I mean, yeah, the cover's a little campy, but hey, what the hell? It works. I can't get enough of this. It kind of makes me wish this was the Wizard of Oz I grew up knowing. You know, Jesus. I honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth, Chris. I honestly didn't know if I was going to like this or not. And then I read it and I thought, this was awesome. Now I understand why there are so many Grim Fairy Tale fans out there. I loved it. And I'll just leave it at that. This was good. Well, I hope I got through all that in time. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Thanks to my bro and to Midtown Comics for that. More Midtown comic book stashes, hopefully in the workings. Don't forget about my second channel, Blugoblin X, where I just recently made my big comeback. And until next time, everybody, I'll see you all later.